This week marked the global pre-sale of the Digimon Card Game, and already with the Japanese release and the global release, we are now seeing cards with a huge amount of callbacks and Easter eggs. But you know, if I'm talking about the Digimon Card Game, I can't do this alone. I had to be joined by my boy ProtoDubs.
And today we're going to be looking at the top 10 Easter eggs and callbacks in the new Digimon Card Game.
Hey, come on! Call EX.
At number 10 on our list, we have this cute little picture of Gabumon hiding in some rocks. Now, you might not know this, because I certainly didn't until somebody pointed it out to me, but this is actually a reference to Digimon World 1. Karn put up some little editing right here. Where exactly is the Gabumon? But he's all hiding, and he's all cute. Also a reference to Digimon World 1, we have this cute little Tanamon art harvesting some meat from the ground. This is obviously a reference to how Tanamon gives you and your Digimon food every single morning in Digimon World 1. And just look at this thing. It's adorable. You can't eat all that. It's too big for you, Tanamon.
Number 9 on the list actually isn't a reference to the Digimon franchise, but it is the cards of Petermon and Tinkermon. They are both yellow cards, and by herself, Tinkermon doesn't do a great deal. She is a 3000 DP level 3 Digimon, but where it gets really interesting is if you have Petermon in your deck. Petermon is a yellow level 4 or champion who, when played, allows you to play a Tinkermon from your deck. This, of course, being a reference to J.M. Barrie and Disney's Peter Pan. So yeah, every time you get a Petermon out, you also get a Tinkermon. Every time Peter Pan appears, he's followed by Tinkerbell. Blade as well, not even when Digivolved. Wow.
Coming up at number 8, we have a couple of Digimon cards that have references to the anime. First, we've got Wizardmon and Galamon that synergize with each other. Wizardmon, if you have a yellow Digimon, this card gains Vengeance. And then Galamon, if you have a purple Digimon, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4000 DP until the end of this turn. Those cards work really well together. Purple, of course, focusing on Vengeance and whatnot, and yellow focusing on subtracting your DP. Next up, we have my personal favorite. When Leomon dies, you get +2 memory. Leomon... They literally gave Leomon an ability that procs when he dies. You knew what you were doing, Bandai. You're not slick. I see you there. I see you there. And this next one, maybe it wasn't like completely planned, maybe I'm looking way too into this, but if you look at the full art for Howling Crusher, you see Saber Leomon fighting a Titamon. Now, Saber Leomon is, of course, the Mega Level 4 Leomon. We see that in the anime. But what you might not know, Titamon, or Titamon if you're wrong, is Ogremon's Mega Level. So it might be a reference to the anime where Ogremon and Leomon are lifelong rivals. Even at their Mega Levels, they're fighting each other. Which, even if we are looking a little bit too into it, it's a nice little fan theory.
In at number 7 is Diaboromon. We're talking specifically about the Diaboromon from BT2 or Set 2. When attacking, this Diaboromon generates a Diaboromon token card, which first of all is very interesting. I think this is the first instance of tokens in this card game. But what's really cool about these tokens is they are Diaboromon tokens of the same level and type as this Diaboromon, but with a much lower DP of only 3000 versus Diaboromon's 10,000. If you haven't worked it out by now, this is of course a reference to our war game, or Digimon the movie in the West, when in the internet Diaboromon began multiplying, making it impossible for War Greymon and Metal Garurumon and eventually Omnimon to fight all of this sprawling Diaboromon. I think this is absolutely wonderful. First of all, mechanically it's a great idea. A card that generates more cards every time it attacks is super cool, but then how it thematically links to a huge part of the franchise is incredibly cool. It really helps you get into the mindset of not just playing a card game, but really feeling the stakes of this. It feels like you're playing out classic moments from the anime, or maybe your own interpretations of those moments.
Coming in at number 6, we've got Galamon and Belzemon. We'll talk about Belzemon a little bit later on down, but what's important to note is that his ability activates when you have 10 or more cards in the trash. What does Galamon's ability do? For every 10 cards in your opponent's trash, discard 1 security. This is of course a reference to Digimon Tamers, how Galamon absolutely curb stomped Belzemon in his first appearance. It's just so funny to me thinking that somebody got the Belzemon Warp Digivolve effect off just to have a Galamon come up and be like, I hope you don't like them security. It's so funny to me that they made a Galamon card that so specifically screws over Belzemon, but Belzemon does not screw over Galamon. It's perfect.
Tying into Galamon ostensibly ruining Belzemon is number 5 on our list. Once again from BT2, Belzemon has a really interesting Digivolution condition. You can absolutely Digivolve Belzemon normally. It's a level 6 or Mega Digimon, so therefore could just Digivolve from any purple level 5 Digimon for an Evo cost of 4, which isn't bad at all, but here's where Belzemon gets really interesting. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash, Belzemon can ostensibly warp Digivolve from a rookie Impmon that you have on the field. And I'm sure you know what reference this is. This is a reference to Digimon Tamers when Impmon warped Digivolve to Belzemon. And the trash pile is a reference to the Digimon that Impmon ended up killing. Impmon/Belzemon killed Leomon, spoilers, and begins absorbing the data of a bunch of other Digimon, which is the only reason it's able to contend with Megidramon. This is such a good card, and it's incredible to me that it's only number 5 on the list, but that's because it is a more indirect reference rather than some of the references we've got coming up. And again, it's incredible in the middle of actual gameplay. The whole point of purple is to trash things and bring them back out, so you see your opponent with just an Impmon and a bunch in their trash and you think, oh, okay. Then suddenly Belzemon is on the field and the game changes. Obviously, if you know the cards like we do by this point, it's not as much of a surprise, but the first time it happened to me, I was shocked.
Coming up next on our list at number 4, we have a reference to one of my personal favorite Digimon seasons, Digimon Adventure 02. We've got Mummymon, Arukenimon, and Malomyotismon. A sort of synergy, if you could call it that, but it's kind of a messed up synergy. Basically, with Mummymon and Arukenimon is when they attack, you can play a Malomyotismon from either your hand or the trash, depending on which card you're using. And then after you play them, you destroy Mummymon or Arukenimon. And that is, of course, a reference to when Malomyotismon was first summoned. The first thing he did was basically eats Arukenimon and Mummymon. Am I wrong? Carton, prove me wrong right here. So it's a nice little nod here, and it's some nice synergy between these 3 purple cards. It lets you get a nice big guy out for free. Well, not for free, you gotta pay 3 memory, but tomato tomato. Arukenimon and Mummymon are some of my favorite Digimon characters, so seeing them have a really cool ability like this to summon a really powerful card like this for pretty cheap, it's really nice to see, and it's a really, really cute reference.
Number 3 on our list is something a little bit different. So far, we've talked about references that are one step removed, that you have to know a little bit about to get the callbacks and Easter eggs. These cards are no messing direct screenshots from fan favorite parts of the anime. Patamon's Confession, A New World, and Jogress Evolution Now are all cards that were created as a result of a Digimon fan contest. Fans are asked for their favorite moment from Digimon Adventure, Adventure 02, Digimon Tri, and Last Evolution Kizuna. I don't believe we've seen the Last Evolution Kizuna card, at least at the time of this upload, but we now do have A New World from Adventure, Jogress Evolution Now, which will probably get a different name in the English set, and Patamon's Confession. And each of these cards obviously is a direct callback, like a screenshot from the anime, but also have really nice thematic elements to how they play. A New World is a Mimi card that lets you return a Mimi Tachikawa that you have out on the field to your hand to play a Palmon. Jogress Evolution Now, Unite Your Heart, lets you, if you have Ken and Davis on the field, return Stingmon and XVmon to your hand to play Paildramon, again without paying its evolution cost. And this is super interesting. Normally, obviously with Paildramon, because they don't have a proper Jogress system where you have 2 Digivolution sources as champions, you would Digivolve from one or the other. In this way, you're kind of playing Paildramon. Obviously, you then don't get its Digivolution sources, but you basically get a free Paildramon, and then you could just play XVmon again and Digivolve into another Paildramon. Incredible tech, great callback. And then finally, most recently revealed is Patamon's Confession, which if you have a TK, lets you put a Patamon rookie to the bottom of your security sources. All Evo sources do get discarded, or that would just be like a Tokamon, presumably, or any yellow level 2. But that's incredible. That means you just get to stack a litter of Patamon at the bottom of your pile, which, if you've seen Try, you probably get what that reference is. It is another buffer for TK, which is incredible. Yellow is my personally preferred deck to play, and I am so excited to play Patamon's Confession. But yeah, great callback, great card, and overall, all of these callback cards that are fan favorites from the poll is just such a great way to liven up the card game.
Coming up at number 2, we have some references to the older Digimon card game with Let's Stop Fighting. This is a direct reference to the card of the same name, Let's Start Fighting, from the original Digimon card game, which shows Belzemon with its zipper undone and a pair of creepy eyes staring back at you. In the new art, though, they added a Metal Greymon and Mamemon, two pretty classic Digimon that a lot of old school fans fell in love with, just to spice it up a little bit, give it a bit more oomph to it. But it's a really cute card, really nice little reference there, and I can't stop looking at Metal Greymon and Mamemon's face. That's how I would look if I saw Belzemon reach back and be like, alright, I'm gonna stare at you with my back eyes. And another cute little reference to the original card game, we have this Metal Greymon. I said Virus Metal Greymon earlier, but technically this is the original Metal Greymon, so I'm just gonna call him Metal Greymon from now on. But this card is literally a reference to the original card game. It's in the same pose as the original, and all they did was just do it up in some new art style. But funny enough, they did a reprint of this card that looks exactly like the original card. They just changed some stuff up, you know, to make it fit with the new card game. And I just love the look of this card. It is so nostalgic seeing that Metal Greymon look like that. I love the like dark shadows and like how he's got his neck. My dude is like, not much else to say about these two cards, but it's a really nice reference to the original card game, which without that, I don't think we'd have this new card game now. So thank you so much.
And last up on the list, number 1, my absolute favourite callback because it's multi-layered is Penguinmon. And this is how you know it's a personal favourites list, because I'm sure some of you would have put other cards much higher on the list, but for me it has to go to this Penguinmon card because it's so niche of a callback. Looking at this Penguinmon card, first of all you see that it's Penguinmon, right? Cool. What does Penguinmon mean? Well, of course he's been in the franchise, but then you'll notice that he is on what appears to be a curling rink, and that's when it all comes together. You see, in Digimon World 1 on the PS1, you could go to the curling rink and play a mini game with Penguinmon, but that's not where this card ends. If you look in the top left, you can see Metal Mamemon using his arm like a sledge. Me and Proto at first thought it was like a bike and it was some variant of Metal Mamemon, but no, it is Metal Mamemon, which is also a reference to Digimon World 1. You can fight and convince Metal Mamemon to join your village, and if you do, every time you enter Penguinmon's curling rink, you have a chance of instead encountering Metal Mamemon, who has the same minigame but slightly harder. What an incredible combination. You get initially Penguinmon, and then if you get the reference, you search for it, you see that it's a reference to Digimon World 1. There in the background is Metal Mamemon, who is an even deeper reference to Digimon World 1 that maybe not everyone would have got, because it is harder to get Metal Mamemon. But then finally, it's just a little cherry on the top of this card. In the top right is Blucomon, who I've talked about in my top 5 Digimon not from Japan. Card, who is of course an ice Digimon created in China, who is slowly working his way into the West. So it's so cool to me that this card, which I think is one of the coolest Easter eggs and callbacks in the Digimon card game so far, just because the art is so multi-layered and such a specific callback to Digimon World 1, even over Gabumon that we talked about previously on the list, also contains one of the first times that we've seen Blucomon in official global Digimon merchandise ever, so far having only been in Digimon Encounters and Japanese V-Pets. What a phenomenal card. And that was our list. Did you like it? Did you agree? Did you disagree? Are there any other callbacks and Easter eggs in the card game you think we missed or that you liked better? Go subscribe to my boy ProtoDubs.
Yes, please. I'm desperate need.
Just a gram of sub, please. Like the video, leave a comment. Does help a bunch with the algorithm. Subscribe. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like the content. I get it. I wouldn't watch me either. And yeah, I'll see you for the next one when we go digital. Oh no!